Good morning. Good morning, everybody, on this finally Friday. You know, we like to emphasize how amazing Fridays are because the weekend is here. And let's be real, we've had a long week in the traffic world. It has been slammed busy. It has been non-stop. And the crashes we have seen over the past couple of days, devastating, really. Some very, very serious crashes. So thank you for joining. Let me get that out of the way. Live here, clickorlando.com, News 6 Plus, and the News 6 app. So you probably just got a push alert, and it's as easy as just clicking that. And then you can watch us really wherever. If you download the app to your phone, it's like all the other apps, News 6, right there at the palm of your hand. So it's kind of cool. And then, of course, it lives forever over at clickorlando.com. Now, today's topic, timely. I planned these out, so it's rather coincidence that we've had so many crashes with amounts of debris and large cleanups that we go and talk about it. And we talk about who is the responsible party when it comes to cleaning up and things like that. So we are headed currently to the new headquarters of the Florida Highway Patrol. I'm going to go live from their parking lot. We're not talking with anybody today, but they moved for years and years and years. If you've spent any more than 20 to 30 years here in Central Florida, you are under the operation of a troop named Troop D here in Central Florida. Now, a long time ago, and some viewers have been here for quite some time will know that it used to be located on Colonial Drive, west of 436 was the old rooms to go. Now they're off, then they moved to 436 north of 408. That building has gone through it, and now the Florida Highway Patrol headquarters is located off of International Drive and Central Florida Parkway, right in the heart of the tourist district. I'm sure those troopers aren't too excited about that, but their location is really good. Their building is really nice. So I figured I'd go over here and we talk a little bit about debris just to be in a relevant location, right? Beats sitting in the parking lot of News 6. So let's talk about some crashes that we've seen this week. Earlier in the week, we had 2 deputies struck in a construction zone, their cars. Thank goodness they were okay, but that caused a lot of issues out on State Road 417 in Orange County because they were parked blocking roadways, and then of course a crash occurs, and then debris, and then depending on the level of a crash, there are levels of cleanup. I'm getting used to explaining this stuff to you guys, so just bear with me. So when it comes to cleaning up a crash, there are levels. There are levels of cleanup and levels of responsibility, and that's something that we'll be talking about briefly. So with that specific crash, tow trucks had to be activated and other crews had to come out and help clean up. So that's different than this morning's crash that we had on I-4. And it differs also from a crash that involves serious bodily injury or some type, or a fatality, a death, because the scenes are diverse. A lot of people don't think about traffic the way that a crash investigator does or a traffic enforcement officer does, because they think of it as below them. And this is a candid conversation with Trooper Steve, so you're going to get my opinion during a lot of things. My experience throughout law enforcement is, because it is such a daily task, a lot of law enforcement officers that are not specifically assigned to traffic don't understand the cause and the true importance of it. And that also goes in with the citizens of Central Florida. A lot of our citizens always are like, why this? Why does it take so long? Why can I do this? Or why can't I do that? And the questions are always there. So I'm here to answer them for you. So I'm finding a place to park politely. We have arrived at Troop D's headquarters here off of International Drive. One of my buddies waving hi to me over there. And then what happens is, let me go park, and then we're going to talk. Make a complete stop, pull back into the U-turn. I don't have an access card to this fancy parking lot. Let's see if I can get one. Stand by. Let's make a U-turn here. All right, let's talk about this stuff. We're going to pull into the front parking lot here of the Florida Highway Patrol off of International Drive, and we'll chat. So the area has been fortified. This used to be the old Westgate building, and they sold it to the state, and the state in return said, let's put our troopers here. So you can see in the back parking lot over there, a lot of trooper cars. This is their headquarters, and I tell you, it's what they needed. Troopers here cover almost 9 counties, and to have a centralized headquarters is good. Plus, they have plenty of detached areas. So, all right, let's talk. Minor crashes, right? When it comes to a minor crash, let's talk about that. In a parking lot, you get into a fender bender, right? So say your bumper fell off. No injuries, cars are still drivable. You would be responsible for removing that debris. A minor crash, something where you're not calling out responders and stuff like that, and you plan on driving your car away, that would be your responsibility. If out here on iDrive and we got into a fender bender and we decided not to have law enforcement respond, and then you decided to leave and leave your stuff in the roadway here, that's your responsibility as a driver, as someone who has been involved in a crash. Now let's elevate it a little bit. Say we're on John Young Parkway. You're cruising through John Young Parkway, you cross over Oak Ridge, and a crash occurs in the intersection. You're okay, the cars are drivable. Or let's say you're not okay and you're transported, or you end up claiming an injury later, just an injury's involved, and your cars are not drivable, so therefore you're going to need law enforcement to respond out. This is when things change up a little bit. Law enforcement, really, no matter the agency responding, has what they call a rotational system, a rotational wrecker service. So there is an individual officer assigned to each law enforcement agency that has to maintain vendors or safety protocol for outside companies that are going to help with law enforcement. Because think about it, if I'm on scene of a crash and I call for a tow truck service to come in, and they show up with just the tow truck, but I have glass in the roadway, I've got debris and stuff, and they can just take the car, they're no use to that cause, that scene, that crash, and we need them to be prepared. So the rotational wrecker service is a list that rotates, and as each call comes out, as say you have one crash, then this wrecker service was used, would be moved to the bottom. The next wrecker service comes up. There is a routine inspection that occurs to make sure that these tow truck drivers have the proper equipment when they respond out to a scene. So things like, we refer to it the kitty litter, stuff that picks up fluids from the roadway, whether you're leaking, has a gas leak, or it's just engine fluid of some type. Make sure they have that. Do they have a shovel, a bucket, a rake, things like a sweeper to make sure the roadway is clean? If they do not meet these things, or when they arrive on scenes, then they will be replaced. So that removes the responsibility from you, the driver. Because if your car's not drivable and law enforcement are getting involved, that places the responsibility on the responding agency to ensure that the scene is completely clear. Now let's elevate it even more, okay? And we have a perfect example of it. An unfortunate example, but a perfect example of it. This morning, I-4 eastbound in downtown Orlando. On a major highway. Highway Patrol has jurisdiction, but is not responsible for that small portion of I-4 the city of Orlando is. Now, the city of Orlando is a full-service law enforcement agency, meaning that they investigate everything from murders, crashes, theft, petty crimes, all of it. They are your law enforcement agency. So they also go about things the exact same way that the Highway Patrol would, meaning this morning's crash. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we had 2 semis that ultimately were jackknifed on I-4, blocking all those eastbound lanes. It was a absolute soup sandwich, a mess. And a normal tow truck is just not going to be able to sustain cleaning that up, right? It's like showing up to a buffet with no appetite. So, bad comparison. So, in that situation, I've got to use the powers of Google here because I forget what the acronym stands for. There is an activation called RISK, and I feel horrible for not remembering what that acronym stands for. Hopefully maybe someone's watching and they'll send me a text. And see, I'm putting in my password in. So what that is, so pretend we know what the acronym stands for. That is, let me be clear, heavy equipment. I mean, you're not getting your normal tow truck with stuff like this. There's Class A, B, C. When I say Class C, these are these large tow trucks. They have specialized equipment that respond to hazmat, major fluid leaks, things like that on state roads or interstate roads. There's also other partners that get involved. Florida Department of Transportation, things like that. So as a driver, and I know that's probably what we're most concerned about here, and when you think about it, in most cases, I say 80% of them, because of the crashes with debris and non-movable vehicles and being drivers being transported no longer there with their possessions, it would be an outside entity's responsibility in clearing the road. But if you, the driver, or the other party involved, all decide we're not going to get law enforcement involved and just go through our insurance, you, the driver, would then be responsible for clearing that crash. Make sense? I hope so. This stuff can get very involved, and the biggest thing I have to say, it takes a lot of time. So let's go check out the back parking lot since we hit our topics. Trooper Chris, you've met him before. Text me, and so we're gonna go see what's going on back here. They have really filled this place up. Really happy to see that they've been able to move into this location so well. So I got the code. So this is just a headquarters, and I want to explain that. It is not a location where the troopers just don't stage all day. They make sure that their stuff is squared away. They come here as troopers. We are a very remote law enforcement officer, so the office is their car. Yeah, we have administrative troopers like my buddy Chris. He is basically like the building supervisor here, and things like that. But this is just a stop and go, evidence collection, stuff like that, a storage facility, and then of course to have that tangible location to where they can call home. One of the new Explorers off and to the right over there. It's cool because they've got like digital digital announcement signs that are already pre-done. And they just click and it starts going. One of the new cruisers right there. That is a brand new FHP charger. New light bar, new push bumper. Looks good. So if you're just joining us, we are in the back parking lot of Florida Highway Patrol's new headquarters building. Now this headquarters building is an older building, but brand new for them. So I decided to come here and talk about crash debris. What better location to talk about generic crash information than the masters of crash investigation, Florida Highway Patrol. So to recap a little bit of what we talked about. You're in a crash. It's just you and another person, or heck, sometimes it's just us, right? We mess up, we hit something. I hope not. Please don't do that, because the pole doesn't move, or the tree. It's your fault. You hit something, a car, whatever. You decide you're not going to get law enforcement. This is a quick recap. Law enforcement involved. In return, there's some debris in the roadway. What do? You are responsible. The driver is responsible for ensuring that debris has been cleared from the roadway and no longer having any obstructions. If your car is disabled in the roadway and you're still there and you've notified law enforcement's going to tow your car and going to activate a tow service off of their rotational wrecker. They would then be responsible for cleaning the roadway. Up it, major issues, semis overturn or jackknife, you have fluid all over the roadway. You, again, the driver, are not going to be in that roadway cleaning it up. It's not safe. Law enforcement has taken over the scene because of the public obstruction in the roadway, and they're going to activate resources in order to ensure that the roadway is cleaned up, cars are removed safely, and that the roadway infrastructure is safe for you. That's why other partners get involved, like the Florida Department of Transportation or local city or county road and bridge and maintenance crews. To say all that, that doesn't mean if you're not deemed at fault for the crash, that somewhere along the lines your insurance may be contacted for that cleanup, and this is all 100% circumstantial, all of it. But responsibility must lie somewhere. So just common sense is the biggest key here. Minor crashes, no cops involved, no investigation, no report. Parties are going to leave. Obviously, you guys, the driver, the people in the car, would be responsible to clean up. Outside of that, you really just let common sense fall into it. If the cops are showing up and they're towing your car, that tow service is going to handle the cleanup for you. If your car is totaled, look the other way, because the debris is going in the trunk and things like that. But you will not be the one in the middle of the road helping the tow truck service to handle that. Now, Trooper Chris is interrupting our live stream, and I'm going to answer the phone real quick while I've got Trooper Chris on the phone here. So 1 sec. Yes, Trooper Chris. Trooper Steve is currently located in the back parking lot that you gave him access to, and is going to wrap up the live stream here in a second if you want to come on down and say hi. All right. All right. Sounds good. All right. Thank you. So, Trooper Chris is my brother. Man, rode motorcycles forever. You've seen him on News 6. You've seen him on my Facebook page. So, he's the only person, other than the missus, that I'd probably take a phone call from in the middle of the live stream. But we're back here. So, I'm watching the delay here, and it's kind of funny. So, that was for today. Cleanup of debris. And the biggest thing is you never want to put yourself in harm's way. Obviously, lanes of travel are active and ensuring that things are moving. So you want to make sure that when you're cleaning this stuff up, you are doing it very safely. And in return, you will make sure that the roadway is kind of clear. So, how we doing?
Hey, man,
hold on, LT. Hold on. Stand by. LT, we're live currently streaming here on clickorlando.com. So just if you want to say hi, you can say hi to the viewers out here. Hold on. Come here, LT. I'm going to switch cam. I was told not to use this camera, but it's okay. This is, can you see him, guys? Let's see. Yeah, you can see him right here. This is Lieutenant Carvalho. How are you, sir?
Good.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yes, it has.
How long have you been with the Highway Patrol?
20 years.
20 years. I knew this guy when he was a sergeant, working his way up. Now, what district are you in charge of?
District 2.
So where does that cover currently?
Well, I'm in the Orange County.
So, okay.
And I'm on my way to look at a hit and run vehicle.
So are you in the operational patrol side, or
Yes.
are you taking care of the special units?
No, operations.
So all those troopers that you see out on the road, a good majority, answering to this lieutenant right here. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you. You have
Always,
a good day.
always a pleasure.
Take care.
I need to put like a live sign on the
I
side
know.
here saying we're currently live. So thanks. That just shows the kind of staff that are out here. This is a very diverse area, and he covers 9 different counties. Then, of course, we've got Trooper Chris right there in front of the truck there, getting ready. So he wears a little bit of a lax uniform, but so thank you for tuning in. Today, obviously, this was a real simple one, but when we get to break it down on different levels, you understand things a little bit differently, and that's what On Patrol is really all about, is to bring what other people would think are generic questions and show you and tangibly show you how things happen. So tune in. News 6 at 9 starts in just a couple of minutes. I'll be there for your traffic hit, of course, and then a recap over on the second half. So I'll catch you guys there, and always drive safely. Love you guys. Always wear your seatbelt. Have a great day.